Good morning or afternoon, whenever you're watching this. Today, for our Inventions unit, we are going to talk about Thomas Edison. So Thomas Edison, I'm going to read from my notes, was born on February 11th. So his birthday is in February, and he was born in Milan, Ohio. I wanted to call it Milan, but we looked it up. Milan, Ohio. And he was born 173 years ago. So he's been around a while. So this is him. No longer alive, but he was born in Milan, Ohio. And what's cool is what's happening with you right now. He was homeschooled by his mom. His teacher said he was just too busy and was getting in a lot of trouble. So mom said, you know what? I'm going to homeschool you at home. So that's what she did. And he set up his first laboratory in the basement. He founded a lot of things. He was one of the first to create a light bulb that worked using electricity. He invented or created the company, the light company and the Edison illuminating company. So those are some important things that he did for our country that we use still today. We had talked about when we invent things that we talked about, remember, getting a patent. And what that means is you register or you fill out paperwork saying, hey, I invented this is all mine. He had about 1,093 patents, which means that's how many inventions he created. So we're just going to touch on some of them that we still use today or that have improved since his first invention. But he definitely is one of the inventors that worked really, really hard on just creating. He thought of so many things. One of his quote, which I love because you guys can do this, is to invent, you need a good imagination and a pile of junk. Because from imagination, you build things. And you need to build it. We had talked about in that one book we read, they would draw pictures, and then we'd build a small version of it. And from there, then they would say, okay, now how do I make it bigger? And that's what they would use. They would use all the things in their house to create. So using a pile of junk is always good. When he was 12 years old, he created his own laboratory. So he first started in his mom's and dad's basement. And then he got bigger. He liked chemistry and mixing chemicals and finding what they would do. And like many scientists, he enjoyed inventing things. He could easily be named the greatest inventor of all times. One of the things he invented was the copy machine. But before even that, and I'll show you in a book, it was called a copy pen. So I can't even imagine using this now in our classroom, but it's huge. And it took a long time to get it done, and you had to use your muscles to turn, but made the first copy machine, which made it much easier. I gotta find where I put it. Here it is. For us to make copies of things that we wanted to give to other people, like our packets that we're doing. All right, another thing that he invented was a phonograph. And before records came out, they used things. So this is on this little drum. It's hard to see, and I'll bring something tomorrow. But if you've ever noticed, and moms and dads, you can explain it to them too. It's a drum and it has little pins that stick out. And as it turns, it makes the sound and some music. And so
like a music box.
Like a music box, good example. Yes, so your music box has those. I bet if you look at the drum out there, you'll find that. So that's a phonograph, so he invented that. He invented the first carbon-powered lamp, and then learned through who we talked about before, Benjamin Franklin's electricity. He wanted to find a way to make light in the homes so they wouldn't have candles all the time because candles can be dangerous. So he invented the first light bulb. And tomorrow I'll show you some examples of different types of light bulbs that we can find around our house. So there's our light bulb. That was a huge one that he did. Another one that he invented was the talking doll. So the very first talking doll, and he had this contraption, which is bigger, but this was the real size, and he'd put in the doll and you'd have to crank it to make her talk instead of pulling a string now or pushing a button. So he invented the first talking doll. He also invented the first movie film camera, so making those, and then you had to watch it on something, so he invented that as well.
Projector.
So the projector, so the movie camera and the movie projector were things that we still use now, just a little different version of, more updated version. And then another quote that I love that he says is, I haven't failed, which none of us fail. I've just found 10,000 ways that wouldn't work. So one thing that I love is he never gave up. He kept trying and going through, giving his all to try and find the answers. And then another quote too is, our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is always to try just one more time until you get it. So keep trying and keep trying. And then our next video, I think we'll read the book so we don't get this one too long. So I'll be reading this book in the next video. See you soon.